Everybody, it's Dana and welcome to the holiday card series for 2021. This is day one. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be using some Gina K products today. I have Gina K inks here in mustard, Kraft, dark sage, and slate. We're also going to be using some Glitz glitter gel for this card. And this is going to be a masculine card, but you can still use the Glitz glitter gel. I'm also going to be using the Peace, Love, and Joy die. I love this die because it makes a beautiful card. And we're also going to be using some masking magic from Gina as well. So to begin the card, I do want to trim down some of that masking paper. I'm going to do a striped background, doing a little bit of ink blending. So I do want to trim down my masking paper to different sizes and widths of stripes for my card. So there's no rhyme and reason in the amount that I'm doing. I'm just trimming them down so I have strips in different sizes. After I have everything cut down, I'm going to bring in my layering white cardstock, and this is how we're going to create our design. Now I'm going to take that die and I'm actually going to push it to the side. I don't need all that paper because my stripes are not going to fit across an entire card panel. So what I like to do is lay down my die and kind of trace out with a pencil where I need the strips to go across. So as you can see, I'm going to bring in a pencil and I'm just going to mark off the amount of that paper that I need to cover with my masking magic. This just makes it a lot easier to do instead of trying to extend out your lines. So as you can see, I just have my little light mark so I know exactly where I have to place those strips. Now I'm just laying down my strips randomly. There's no rhyme or reason on how I'm doing this. I just want to make sure I don't have maybe like the same size stripe next to one that's of the same size. So I'm going to give a little bit of variation when I lay down my stripes. Again, you can do this any way you want. You can actually use the masking magic and maybe just do circles instead of stripes. That's another option. Maybe doing overlapping circles. All I have to do is finish up placing these down. And this probably took me maybe about, I don't know, 3-4 minutes to do, just making sure that I get everything lined up correctly. Once I have down all of my stripes, I can go ahead and start my blending. I am going to make sure that I overlap my colors though, because that's what makes a beautiful card. So if you're going to be replicating this card, make sure when you do your blending, you overlap your colors. Now, as you can see, I did speed this up. This is just regular ink blending. There's no fancy magic to this because, you know, we're starting off our first day. We don't want this to be difficult. And none of your holiday cards should be stressful. When you're making your holiday cards, know that you're giving them to people that enjoy your cards. And also make sure that you're not putting too much pressure on yourself. So we have enough pressures when it comes to the holidays, and our card making should not be stressful for us. As you can see, I'm going through the colors, but I am making sure to keep my two lighter colors together and then my two darker colors together. This is going to help ensure that we don't get like that muddy brown color. So I kept the honey mustard and the Kraft together, and then I moved the Kraft into the dark sage and the dark sage into the slate. Again, this is going to guarantee me that I just don't get that muddy look. I am going back through my colors though to make sure that I get a lot of ink on this paper. So if you want successful ink blending, you have to make sure that you put down a good amount of ink to have a good outcome. Once I finish all of the blending, I can go ahead and clean this off. I do bring in a little rag just to clean up some of that ink. So when I go to pull up those stripes, I don't have inky fingers. Now this is the magic. This is what I love. It's almost like a stencil. It's revealing your design. So I'm just gently pulling up that masking magic and I have this gorgeous background. Now if you don't have the masking magic, you can also use a stencil, a line stencil for this. This will work totally fine. So as I go ahead and pull that back, you can see I have this gorgeous card panel, and now we can start our die cutting. I am lining that die right back up in those lines that I drew earlier. Remember, we had those lines there to give us a guide of where we needed to place back this cover plate. Now this is a simple, easy card that you can totally mass produce. My suggestion, do all your ink blending at once, do all your die cutting at once. I'll go ahead and run this through my die cut machine. And now I have another piece of the layering paper, and I'm just going to add adhesive to the back panel. As you can see, I'm not adding any glue to the letters. At this point, I just want to put down the cover plate itself and not the letters. I am making sure though to put in a little bit of adhesive where I know the circle parts of my O, my P, and my A are. So if you're going to do the same design, just make sure that you put down a little bit of that wet adhesive behind the letter inner pieces, not the letters themselves. Now I can go ahead and line this up onto my card panel. And this is a standard size card panel. This is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, just your regular standard A2 size. Just making sure I get that straight on there, and then I can go ahead and press this down. Again, I'm just going around the edges and the parts that I did not glue down. Now I can come in with my tweezers and I can lift all the letters out because I want to stack those letters. I'll go ahead and pull out all of these letters, and then we'll just have the card base. That's what we want to start with. Now you can leave your card like this, and I do believe it'll still be a gorgeous card. But I want to give this card a little bit of depth. And again, remember I said I want to use that Glitz glitter gel. So this is going to allow me to add a little bit of texture to this card without adding a lot of volume to it. I ran the panel again through my die cutting machine to get a couple of additional letters. These are just done with white cardstock, so I can go ahead and stack these on top of one another, again, to give myself some depth in my letters. All you have to do if you want to stack these, now you could use foam tape if you wanted to, but if you're going to stack them, just use glue to do this. And I always stack about 2 to 3 white behind the panel, or the piece rather, that's going to have the design. Now you can do more, it's just going to give your card a little bit more depth, but if you're trying to mail this, I don't suggest that you add more than 4 layers if you don't want to have to end up having to have that extra postage fee. Now that I have all of my letters stacked, this is when I'm going to bring in a Glitz glitter gel. I'm using the Glitz glitter gel just on the bottom portions of each letter. This Glitz glitter gel is going to kind of mimic like snow resting on the edge or the bottom portions of our letters. Now when you put this in, or put this on rather, you want to make sure that you just tap it on. This gives it a thicker consistency, so it is going to require you a little bit more dry time, but it really does give the letters a little bit more definition and a little bit of sparkle. Now, when you're putting it on the letters that have an opening like this O here, just make sure that you don't add any of the Glitz glitter gel into the opening, because remember, this has to pop up onto our card base. And if you have a buildup of that Glitz glitter gel, it's not going to lay correctly on your card. So just be mindful when you're putting this on. So I did this to all of the letters, went away, painted my nails, and now I'm back just laying in the letters. This was super, super easy to do. I just used my Barely Arts glue to place each letter into its personal slot. And look how cool this looks. I love the little bit of that Glitz glitter gel. It does remind me of snow, and it's such a pretty masculine or feminine card. I do have 2 other card samples here. I will make sure to link these products below, so you could also see another way to use these color combinations. All right, everybody, that's a wrap for day 1. I will see you back here for day 2. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.